Hello. I'm going to say these things, but I don't have to tell you this. I think you know my district just as well as I do since you live there. My district in southern Illinois has 3 separate navigable waterways within it. Everything that's on the Mississippi, almost to St. Louis, everything on the Ohio, as long as it touches the state of Illinois, and then the Kaskaskia. With that being said, our levee systems are vitally important for protecting farmlands, homes, and communities. We all know how to stack sandbags. We all know how to fill sandbags. We know what the importance of our levee systems are and the concerns that we have. And while I appreciate the work of the Corps and what it does to help ensure the waterways are safe and functioning, I have heard a lot of concerns from constituents about the potential impact that the flow frequency study could have on flood insurance and levee certification for levee districts on the river. Do you share those concerns, and can you provide an example of impacts that could be affected if the profile changes?
Yes, thanks, Congressman, for the question. So there's 2 different areas I would touch on. First is agriculture. A lot of our levee districts in your region especially are agricultural, and you're looking at around, on average about 15,000 acres per levee district. There's some that are 10, some that are 25, but around 15. Talking with the levee operators there, if they were to lose their 50-year flood accreditation or their flood status on the 50 years, if that drops below there, they're looking at anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 per acre. So that's $15 to $30 million per acre at a time when the ag industry is kind of suffering the way it is. On the flip side of that, the urban areas, the Metro East, Southwestern Illinois Flood Prevention District, I think a sliver of that is in your district. That levee district protects 150,000 people in 25 different communities, parts of Interstate 55, parts of Interstate 64, parts of Interstate 70, all those refineries over there in Hartford and Roxana. It protects about $18 billion, 60,000 jobs and $18 billion in property values. If they were to lose their 500-year accreditation status, we're looking at a 20-30% drop in property values. That's $3.6 to $5.4 billion in a drop in property values.
Well, additionally, can you kind of speak to the importance? We know, I know what the problems are, but as far as flood protection, levee districts, as it relates to navigation, like what we've had the problem with whenever the Lynn Small levee blew at they still call it the holiday flood, but it was no holiday for me. So.
Yes, sir. I'm familiar with that issue as well. Look, navigation improvements and flood control. It's a symbiotic relationship. You can't have one without the other. The navigation, the improvements for navigation, the improvements for flood control, they work together in tandem like the wheels of a bicycle, making sure everything operates. So you have revetments and dikes. Those protect the levees from scour. You have the levees. Without the levees, that river would run bluff to bluff. And so the 2 work together to lock that channel into place to make it usable at high water and low water.
Yeah. So the other question I've got here is, and concerns deal with the fact that a lot of we talked about the ag areas. When the levee systems were put up and the levee districts were created, property tax in the state of Illinois was what was used to try to keep and maintain the levees. Unfortunately, that works in a community like a municipality that can have the property tax level they need to repair those. Do you have any suggestions on what we would do in the future with my ag levies, because they're barely able to keep them up because of that?
You're talking about individual agricultural levies?
No, I'm talking about the levies that need to be improved in our levee districts that usually have ag land that pay the taxes.
Yeah, if we don't have, if they're not, if we are unable, if they lose those property values and they are unable their property taxes go down, that's less money that they're going to have to maintain and operate those levees themselves. Because they have a lot of, if there's a repair, there's a cost share that comes into it if there's a flood. But for the most part, they're maintaining this, operating this 365 on their own dollars. They will have less, that makes that levy less safe if they don't have the money to maintain and operate it properly.
I appreciate that. My time about expired, and I'll yield back.
The
Thank
chair
you.
now recognizes Ms. Poe for 5 minutes.